I didn't know the same family who said I wasn't their type would be whispering my last name into Google like it might change the seating chart. They said it the first time at brunch, casual and smiling, like it wasn't supposed to sting. His mother tilted her head, studying me over her mimosa, and said, "You're sweet, but you're just not really our type." She laughed softly after, like that made it lighter. Like it wasn't a sentence I'd replay later while brushing my teeth. I froze with my fork halfway to my mouth. The restaurant smelled like syrup and burnt coffee. His cousins went quiet, suddenly very interested in their plates. Nobody asked what she meant. Nobody needed to. I felt it anyway, that familiar feeling of being evaluated and found wanting without anyone ever saying exactly why. My fiancé squeezed my knee under the table, but he didn't say anything. That was the part that hurt the most. Later, in the car, I asked him what she meant. He shrugged, eyes on the road. You know how my family is. They just have expectations. Expectations. Another soft word with sharp edges. I'd been hearing versions of that since I met them. Little comments. Side glances. Questions that felt like tests I didn't know I was taking. Was I from the right neighborhood? Did my parents stay married? What did my family do? Every compliment had a qualifier. You're pretty but different. You're smart but quiet. You're nice, but I learned quickly that I was always almost enough. Our engagement didn't change that. If anything, it made things worse. His family treated the wedding like a group project I was barely allowed to contribute to. His mother picked colors without asking. His aunt rewrote the guest list. His cousin suggested I straighten my hair for a more classic look. I smiled. I nodded. I picked my battles carefully, because I loved him and I didn't want to start a war over place cards. But I felt it. Every time they said, "our family," like I was visiting. Every time they talked about traditions without once asking about mine. One night, about a month before the wedding, his sister pulled me aside while everyone else argued over cake flavors. She lowered her voice and said, "I hope you don't take this the wrong way, but some people are just worried you won't fit in long term." Fit in where? I wondered. At Sunday dinners? At Thanksgiving? In their bloodline? I went home that night and cried in the shower, so he wouldn't hear me. I come from a family that doesn't do subtle disrespect. If you're invited, you're fed. If you're loved, you're claimed loudly. My aunts ask questions that feel invasive, but come from curiosity, not suspicion. My last name carries weight where I'm from, not because of money, but because of history, because of who we've been to people. But his family never asked about that. They didn't ask about my parents, my grandparents, the stories behind my name. They just assumed. And assumptions can be cruel. The week of the wedding arrived faster than I was ready for. Out-of-town relatives filled the hotel lobby. His family buzzed around like they were hosting a convention. I moved through it all politely, quietly, trying not to take up too much space in my own wedding. The rehearsal dinner was tense. His mother kept correcting me on pronunciation of names I'd already said correctly. His aunt commented on my dress choice. Someone joked that I was mysterious. I laughed like it was cute. That night, alone in the hotel room, I stared at my reflection. My skin glowing, my hair wrapped neatly, my eyes tired. I asked myself quietly if I was making a mistake. Not about marrying him, about marrying into them. The morning of the ceremony was chaos. Makeup artists, steam from curling irons, bridesmaids rushing in and out. I sat still while my face was done, listening to laughter down the hall from his side of the bridal suite. I could hear his mother's voice, sharp and energetic. My phone buzzed with texts from my cousins. "You good? We outside already." Andy brought the snacks. Their energy steadied me. About an hour before the ceremony, something shifted. I noticed his sister whispering to his cousin, her phone held low. I saw his aunt frown at her screen. His mother stepped out into the hallway, pacing. Nobody said anything to me, but the air felt different. Tight. Electric. I caught his eye when he came to check on me. "Everything okay?" I asked. He hesitated just a second too long. "Yeah, just family stuff." Family stuff. Again. I went back to my chair, heart beating faster now for a different reason. I watched through the mirror as his mother re-entered the room, her face pale. She pulled his aunt aside, whispering urgently. Phones were out now, fingers typing fast, brows furrowed. No one was looking at me anymore. I stood up, smoothing my dress, and stepped closer, pretending to adjust an earring. I heard his cousin hiss, "I just Googled it." His sister whispered back, "No way." My name floated through the room, followed by my last name, said slowly this time. Carefully. His mother swallowed hard. "What?" someone asked. She didn't answer right away, just stared at her phone like it might bite her. I felt a strange calm settle over me, a quiet knowing, the kind you feel when something you've carried silently is finally about to speak for itself. Nobody had asked about my last name before. Not really. They heard it. They never listened. Now, 30 minutes before I was supposed to walk down the aisle, they were finally paying attention. And whatever they found made their smiles disappear. The room didn't explode into questions the way you'd expect. It went quiet instead. Heavy, like all the air had been pulled out and nobody wanted to be the first to breathe wrong. His mother finally cleared her throat. "Can I speak with you for a moment?" she asked me, her tone suddenly careful, almost polite. That alone told me everything. I nodded. "Sure." We stepped into a smaller room off the suite. She shut the door behind us, smoothing her blazer like it might calm her nerves. She didn't sit. Neither did I. "I wasn't aware," she started, then stopped, clearly unsure how to finish that sentence. "Of what?" I asked gently. She glanced down at her phone again, like the answer might change. "Your family," she said. "Your background." I waited. She took a breath. "Your grandfather. He's the one the community center is named after?" "Yes," I said. "And your aunt. She's on the board of trustees at the hospital?" "Yes." "And your mother," she paused, squinting at the screen, "runs the scholarship fund?" "That's right." She looked up at me then, really looked, like she was finally seeing the full outline of a picture she'd been too busy judging to notice. "Why didn't you tell us any of this?" I almost laughed. "Almost. You never asked." That landed harder than anything I could have said louder. She opened her mouth, closed it, then sighed. "Well, I suppose that explains certain things." Certain things. The coded language never really goes away, does it? Back in the main room, the energy had shifted completely. His aunt smiled too wide now. His cousins suddenly remembered my name. One of them complimented my dress like she hadn't seen it an hour ago. His sister pulled me aside next. "I had no idea," she said, eyes wide. "You never talk about your family like that." "Like what?" I asked. "Like important," she said. I shrugged. "They're important to me." She nodded slowly, like that was a revelation. "My fiancé found me just before the ceremony." He looked shaken, confused, a little embarrassed. "Why didn't you tell me?" he asked quietly. "I did," I said. "I told you who I was. You just didn't realize that included my last name." He ran a hand over his face. "They feel bad." I raised an eyebrow. "About what?" He hesitated. "About how they treated you." "Do they?" I asked. He didn't answer. When it was time to walk down the aisle, his mother hugged me first. Tight. Performative. "We're so happy to have you joining our family," she said, her voice loud enough for nearby ears. I smiled. "Thank you." The ceremony itself was beautiful. I focused on the vows, on the way his hands trembled when he held mine, on the moment that felt real and ours. At the reception, my family showed up exactly as they always do. Loud, loving, unapologetic. My aunties hugged me like they were proud from the soles of their feet. My cousins filled the dance floor immediately. My father shook my husband's hand and held it just a second longer than necessary, his smile warm but measuring. I noticed his family watching us now, watching how my people moved, how they laughed, how they belonged. More than once, someone from his side leaned over and said, "Your family has such presence." I smiled politely. "We do." Later in the evening, his mother pulled my mother aside. I watched them talk from across the room. My mother nodded calmly, her posture relaxed, like she'd never needed approval a day in her life. When my mother came back to me, she squeezed my hand. "She's learning," she said simply. As the night wound down, I caught my reflection in a mirror. My dress a little wrinkled from dancing, my smile genuine, my eyes clear. I thought about every moment I'd been made to feel like I didn't belong. Every not our type. Every expectation I never agreed to. I realized something important then. They didn't change because they learned who my family was. They changed because they finally understood they couldn't look down on me. And that difference mattered. On our honeymoon, my husband apologized. Really apologized. Said he should have defended me sooner. Said he didn't realize how deep the disrespect went. I listened. I accepted the apology. But I also told him something I'd learned about myself. I don't need people to approve of me to belong, I said. And I won't shrink to make anyone comfortable. He nodded. I see that now. Life settled into a rhythm after the wedding. His family stayed polite, some even kind, but I noticed the difference in myself more than in them. I stood taller, spoke more freely, corrected things when they were wrong. Not harshly, just clearly. My last name didn't make me worthy. It just reminded them I already was. And the funny thing is, once they finally Googled it, they realized what I'd known all along. I was never not their type. I was just never theirs to judge.